One of such people is a two-time Ironman world champion. We're lucky enough to call him a Boulder resident, and he's on the phone right now. You guys don't need an introduction for this guy. It's Tim Deboom. There he is. Hey, Tim, how are you, my friend?
I am doing fine. How are you guys?
Doing well. It's good to see you. It's nice to even have the virtual connection and get to see a friendly face. So, Tim, how's everything? I mean, how's the activity? How are you moving through these unique times and staying fit and healthy?
Staying fit and healthy is not a problem for me. Yeah, here in Boulder, we were able to get outside and do what we want to do pretty much. Ski season was cut kind of short, and the backcountry's been a little sketchy lately, so I've been just running on the trails and riding on the trails as much as I can. But otherwise, I have turned into full-time teacher for my daughter with the homeschooling. So that is fun. By the time 2 o'clock in the afternoon rolls around, I think we're all done for the day.
Do you feel like you missed a career calling as a school teacher? I don't know. How's that going, juggling the demands of both being a dad and a teacher at the same time?
Well, I volunteered at her school quite a bit, and I coached their running team in the spring and the fall, and I actually really enjoy it. And so the teaching of Wilder, my daughter, she's pretty disciplined and pretty good for the most part, so I don't have much problems. If I had two or more kids, then it gets a little sketchy if I can't like just tell them to go run an extra lap, you know.
That's funny. Yeah, you brought that up. So we had Ed Burns, and we're watching. I'm sure you're watching footage there of that win in 2001. What a special moment. I'm sure you get the chills looking at that. I think a lot of us do in that other sort of tough, very tough time, 2001, right? If you could just give
Yeah.
us a tip. I was going to ask one question, but I changed my mind. Just getting through those tough times, and you went from September 11th that year to winning this race through a positive mindset. Just share with our viewers some tips on that how that worked for you.
Well, I mean, it was definitely a very tough time because, like the athletes dealing now, you just didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if the race was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to be traveling anytime soon. I mean, I think the day after it happened, I was supposed to fly to California to finish my training and get down from altitude. And I just put everything on hold for a few days and then ended up driving to California. I wasn't going to get on a flight or anything. And so you had to just, it took me a few days to then get back into the mindset and be like, well, no matter what happens, I'm going to be ready. Ready to go when they do say if it's a go or no go. And I think the difference is that the athletes now have no idea like when things are gonna, when a race is gonna actually happen. I give kudos to Ironman for setting up this virtual racing, so quickly and giving the athletes something to do. But I also think that the athletes, this could be a huge benefit by actually taking some downtime. Most of the athletes have been racing and working their butts off for years now, and my best performances and some of the best performances from other athletes I've ever seen at the world championship level was after an extended break and where they've had to come back. So hopefully some of these athletes are using this time to, give their body a good recovery bit. And then, when the races are announced again, they can come out screaming.
That's so good, Tim. Now you're obviously familiar with these Boulder roads. You see Joe Skipper making that turn onto the diagonal highway, making his way back to the reservoir. Just a couple of kilometers left in this 70.3 race course today. What words of advice do you have for our men racing today in the closing stretch here?
Well, it's cool because, it's like I did a couple bike races when I was done, racing professionally. And on the bike, you can just go as hard as you possibly can when you don't have to run afterwards. And that's, I would say it's full throttle to the end of this bike ride at this point.
So good advice. And yeah, we are pretty close, and they have been going flat out. These numbers are impressive. Well, I just want to say thanks for joining us on the show, and you kind of tie in. If you look back, if you got to see Ed Burns, he was talking about that recess and the importance of the movement. So I'm really glad that you're doing that with your kid, with Wilder, and with all the kids there at her school. So keep doing what you're doing in promoting that fitness for all the youth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.